Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 10th. On today's show, Herb Sklar shares some tips on how to buy your first digital camera. We'll also talk to Herb Wilcox, who spent much of the 1980s as a contractor working in Saudi Arabia. There's good reason to focus your attention on the Middle East, especially considering all the chaos we're seeing on the news. Well, tonight, you have a chance to be better informed than any of the talking heads on the news by learning about the history behind these conflicts. It's a special Primetime Academy event featuring our history expert, Adrian Kerr. Adrian has spent a lot of time in Egypt and shares a unique perspective on the history of the area and how it relates to the current troubles. This special event, also open to the public, is called the Arab Spring Revisited. It happens tonight at 7 p.m. in the church auditorium. Sign up by calling the Island Service Desk at 454-2282 or the Woodlands Service Desk at 454-2054. Also coming up in the Academy are several art classes taught by Herb Sklar. For example, this Wednesday he'll be teaching about lomography, a photography technique that uses cheap plastic cameras, special lenses and effects, and standard 35mm film. In today's digital environment, film cameras seem like a foreign concept to the younger generation. But for many here at Shell Point, it's the exact opposite. If you've never used a digital camera before, it may be a bewildering proposition. But have no fear. Digital Camera Prep School is here. You bring your camera and the owner's manual, and Herb Sklar will take it from there. His Digital Camera Prep School starts next Tuesday, September 17th at 9 a.m. in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. Here's a preview.
Hello everyone, I'm here today with Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve. We're talking about yet another class in the Academy of Lifelong Learning with Herb Sklar. Thank you for joining me, Herb.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now you're going way into the future and into the past with photography here at Shell Point, a photo club, all sorts of things, and you're even going to extend yourself to Digital Camera Prep School for people bringing the camera in the box.
And bring the instructions with you, please. All these cameras are alike, but the menus are all different. So it's really important that you bring the instructions. If you've just got a camera and you don't even want to put the batteries in it, that's okay too.
Wow. Yeah. So we really can just come with the camera in the box and the instructions?
That's fine. We'll get you going. That's the whole idea of this class is to get you out there, start taking pictures, and then you can join the photo club and learn how to use it better.
You know, that's something I admire so much about you. You're a photographer, you're a professional, you're a caring person, and you take people from the very beginning with their camera through extreme creativity, and then
it's called recruitment of members for the photo club.
But then share together on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And the photo show. I mean, there's just so much reason to get a box and bring it.
There's a lot of opportunity at Shell Point to grow in photography, and more coming. Coming.
So, what's the thing about getting a digital camera? You know, I was with the big Canon, the dark room, the whole thing, and a digital camera was like, I don't know if I want to do that. But it's still taking a photograph. And there's still the creative element.
I think when digital cameras first came out, a lot of us laughed. I said, oh, they're cute, but they'll never be as good as a film camera. They surpass the film camera now. They really do. There just isn't anything you can't do with them now. And as far as what camera is right for you, that's a budget and a carry problem. If some of them are a little too heavy for you, some of them cost a little too much money for you, some of them feel right. So you got to work that out. But I'll tell you this, all of these cameras are pretty equal. Some of them will do things better or faster or easier. But you can take a great picture with one of those little point and shoots or one of those full frame $2,000 ones. You really can. I've seen it done. So almost any camera you buy will work for you. But don't come in with your phone. Phone cameras are not where photography is yet.
Yeah, we want a digital camera.
Bring a real camera.
But how nice to know that, think about it. This is a camera you're going to carry around with you.
Right.
Get one that's right for you, that fits your budget, that fits your purse or your pocket or wherever you're going to carry it.
And what you want to do. If you're going to be photographing wildlife, I wouldn't suggest you get one of those little ones with a teeny lens. You need something that's going to...
Because you're going to be a little bit farther from the wildlife.
Right.
That you're
But if you're only taking pictures of your family, and then, that may work for you. So really think about what you're going to be doing with it. But that will change as you get better, unfortunately.
And the technology is such that the prices come down.
The prices come down, the cameras get better and simpler and smaller.
Yeah.
And what's happening now, the big trend is compact digital cameras, where they're much smaller, but the quality is almost that of a full frame camera. That's becoming very popular. Now, they're a little pricey, but they in time will come down too. So yeah, it's always changing.
And how wonderful that you don't have to have that whole background of photography. You buy this camera, you go to Herb Sklar's class, and then you just start taking
This
pictures.
class has no curriculum. We're just going to do it as we need. And the whole idea after 3 weeks that you're able to use your camera. I want you to just get out there, use your camera, take pictures, and then if you want, you join the photo club and we'll teach you to become more artistic and more about your camera.
Well, it's a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Digital Camera Prep School begins Tuesday, September 17th. See it in your Academy brochure.
One of the most fascinating aspects of talking to Shell Point residents is the extent of their international experience. We have residents who have lived in, worked in, or visited nearly every country on Earth. Here's an example. Herb Wilcox and his wife lived in Saudi Arabia in the 1970s and 80s, working for Aramco, the Arabian American Oil Company. This company played a huge role in Saudi Arabia's history, creating industries from scratch and helping Saudi Arabia to become one of the richest countries on earth, all in less than a century. Of course, living as an American in the strictest Muslim country on earth can bring a few cultural clashes, and Herb experienced plenty while working for Aramco. Let's hear some of his experiences from his time in Saudi Arabia.
I graduated from Bucknell University up in central Pennsylvania. Was in the Army during the Korean War. However, I was in Italy during the Korean War, which was the best place to be. After that, I worked for Westinghouse for 13 years, where I was engineering director on the lunar camera tube, the camera that went to the moon. My youngest of 3 children was ready to go to college, and I didn't have the tuition. So I got a job in Saudi Arabia.
8,000 miles from New York, there lies a primeval desert, a mass of drifting sand and sun-baked earth 1/3 the size of the United States. Remote, unknown, and isolated. Perhaps this country, so unproductive on the surface, might contain minerals below the surface, including oil. This was the starting point of a new American business venture abroad.
Aramco, A-R-A-M-C-O, was the Arabian American Oil Company. When Aramco first got there, there were no paved roads in the country as far as we know. No power, no telephones between cities. And this was 1932, 33. So Aramco had to do all of these things for their people. They did not have a hospital. Aramco built an excellent hospital, which even I had access to, and that was where the royal family came to be treated. Major cities, they did not have maps of major cities, and the streets weren't named. Well, how did they work for 1,000 years without this? If you had a place that you said, well, it was near the camel market, it was over by the souk where all the stores are, or it was near a mosque, that was about as good as you could get, and then they'd walk in. With the Aramco Air Force, we flew over and took aerial photographs, and then our department sat down and we started labeling the names of streets and things. Now the reason...
What did you call them?
Most of them were numbered. We figured, like streets and avenues, because we didn't want to offend anybody by naming a wrong street. Saudi Arabia was so undeveloped that they had no industry, no exports except oil. They had to, in fact, they actually had to import gasoline because they didn't have a refinery there when they first started. They have pipelines that they need paint. They didn't have a paint company. And my job and my department was to make connections between foreign companies, Japanese, British, German, American, all, joint ventures with local entrepreneurs, and we would set up factories, whether it's making paint or making electrical wire or anything else they needed. Saudi Arabia was a extremely conservative country. There was no alcohol, no movies, no entertainment. How were you going to keep people working? Aramco built, they have 3 compounds, they're called, and these were enclosed compounds where foreigners only could live. We had baseball fields, bowling alleys, tennis courts lit and open 24 hours a day because people were working shifts, and there were several thousand foreigners there. Many of them petroleum engineers and chemists. A few would end up trying to make their own alcohol. A few, I think about 100. And our commissary, which was like a supermarket, sold yeast in 10-pound bags and sugar in 50-pound sacks. Now that's a lot of baking. And so there was a lot of it. And but Aramco said no, it should not be there. And the Saudi police could come in unannounced and search your house. And people had gone to jail.
Did you ever sample any of this?
Yeah, it was terrible. We keep hearing this business about Saudi Arabia not allowing women to drive. And it is true, and it's true to this day, and you hear about some things. This little document is a Saudi Arabian driver's license official for my wife, so that when they say there never was, they are. Maybe I should sell this on eBay. But again, she could drive only in our compound. When we went into town, they had to dress with a long skirt down to the ankles. They had to wear a kerchief over their head and sleeves down to their hands. So in effect, they were covered. Women could not work in stores. And so when my wife had to go into a clothing store for something, a man waited on her. There is a religious police, in fact, literally. And they would go around the cities and arrest Saudi women if they weren't modestly dressed and everything else. My wife and I and our friends, we'd like to go into town once in a while to eat dinner. And there was a Chinese restaurant. And so we'd rush into the Chinese restaurant before prayer time started so we could eat during prayer time and then get out. Things got a little tighter, and as we were eating, the police would come in and force us to get up and go out in the street and stand until prayer time was over and then go back in. This kind of puts a damper on an evening. Since there was virtually nothing to do, Aramco built the first television station in the Middle East. And it was all in English because they intended it only for the foreigners in the camp. There was this, "Thou shalt not create graven images." And the Saudis took this absolutely to faith. In fact, it's a picture, a painting, a sketch, or anything that involves any living thing. When Aramco started their station, the government said, "That's a picture." But we said, even with a tape, there's no picture. You can't see it. It's not like a film and a camera. So it's here and that's it. And the first program they had a mullah get on and read from the Koran. And the religious people looked at it and said, yeah, it came through perfectly right, so you can have it. So we got into Saudi Arabia TV, Aramco TV, started getting movies and things from America. And some of it was ridiculous. We had, really racy programs like the Waltons, but also they had the Muppets. And if you recall, there was a character called Miss Piggy. 2 strikes. Not only was it a woman, but it was a pig, pork. And so somebody there, anytime Miss Piggy started to come on the air, bang, the screen went black. And we had dozens of incidents like that. So it was probably one of the funniest TV seasons we've ever gone through. The Arab League set up a boycott. Any foreign company that had a manufacturing operation in Israel could not sell their goods in Saudi Arabia or any Arab country, theoretically. So, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, you could not buy a Ford, but you could buy a Chrysler or a Chevrolet. Of course, most of the sheikhs had, BMWs and Mercedes, so it didn't matter. I had a business friend who had the Coca-Cola franchise in a whole country in a desert where it was hot. And suddenly, with the Arab boycott, he could no longer sell Coca-Cola because there was a Coca-Cola bottling plant in Israel. And the bottling company is one that you buy hundreds of gallons of syrup from Coca-Cola Company in the United States, and he had gallons and gallons of it, and suddenly he couldn't sell it. He changed the name from Coca-Cola to Kaki-Cola, Kaki being a good Indian sort of a name. And so he kept selling it until he ran out of syrup, went out of business. I tell you what we used to do. Aramco had their own Air Force, and they were flying to Europe and the United States and come back. And sure enough, the pilots in particular would load up the plane with Coca-Cola. And so whenever we got on a plane flying from Jeddah to Dhahran or wherever it was, we'd reach in and down as much Coca-Cola as we could get. My friend and I, we had to go to Europe. He wore the traditional robes in Saudi Arabia, but as soon as we got on the plane, he was immaculately dressed with good Paris fashions. Hostess came down to feed us all breakfast in little, tea napkins and everything, silverware. And finally, she came and she started to pass a plate of eggs and bacon. And I said, not him. And he poked me and said, mind your own business. There are, I guess, any religion. There are moderates, there are conservatives, and there are radicals. For Saudi Arabia, as I say, I was there, it was a long time ago. I left in 1984. A lot has changed, but even more has not changed.
Interested in learning more about the Middle East? Especially with all the timely events in the news? Ask someone who's been there. Adrian Kerr travels to Egypt regularly, and he's giving a special primetime presentation in the Academy called The Arab Spring Revisited, discussing the current chaos with a historical perspective. It happens tonight at 7 p.m. in the church auditorium, so get your tickets now. It's time to cover all of today's happenings from resort services, followed by your Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Welcome to the Happenings segment of ShellPoint TV. Today is Tuesday, September 10th. I'm Suzanne Zavada, and I'm here with Bev Chanley to go over all the activities happening at ShellPoint today. We'll start the day off bright and early at 7:15 with the Health Connections, Bend, Breathe, and Balance in the Health Club on the island. At 8 o'clock, the Round Robin Men's Doubles Tennis Group will be out at the courts at the Woodlands. 8:15 is the time for the Stamp Ministry to meet in the Stamp Room on the island. Volunteers are welcome. At 9 o'clock, we have a Susie Q sightseeing tour taking off. Sign up is required. At 9:15, we have open painting in the art studio on the island. Also at 9:15, we have shuffleboard at the shuffleboard courts on the island. At 9:30, the Match Play Mixed Doubles Tennis Group will be out at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. And at 10:15, we have the Through the Bible Study Group meeting in the Osprey Room on the island. Then at 11, we have a Susie Q trip to Rum Runners for lunch taking off. Sign up is required for that. That's it for the morning. Now let's go to Bev for the afternoon.
We're going to start out the afternoon activities at 12:30. That'll be the mixed progressive bridge game. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. And then 1:15, the Knitters group will be in the Osprey Room. Also at 1:15, we have the Rollicking Recorderists. They'll be in the Tarpon Room down in the tunnel. Our last 1:15 activity is the Women's Ministries Prayer Group. They meet in the hospitality room of the Village Church. At 1:30, the Stamp Ministry will be busy in the Sable Room down at the Woodlands. And then at 2:45, we have a Health Connections class. This one is Balance and Mobility Training Level 2. That'll be in the Health Club, and it's currently full. Well, that's all our activities for today. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 9:15, After Prep School Basics takes place in the Computer Teaching Center on the island, and sign-up is required. At 10:15, an Apple iPad class, Apps, meets in the Manatee Room on the island, and sign-up is required. At 1:15, another class to sign up for, Appreciating Art on your iPad, meeting in the Manatee Room of the island. At 7 o'clock, we present the Arab Spring Revisited and Egypt in the Village Church on the island. Sign-up is required. Tomorrow, we're going to visit the Calusa Mound House with Academy on the Go. Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve is going to teach lomography, a new opportunity to stretch the horizons of your creativity. And Color, again by Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve. Computer College Prep School will be presented by Richard Nelson of Lakewood. If you missed the Coffee with the Neighbor Lester Davidson presented in the Academy on America the Beautiful, you have another chance. He will be presenting it tomorrow at 10 a.m. in King's Crown. I'd like to take a minute to talk with you about the Pavilion Auxiliary. The first step is orientation, and our next orientation will take place on Friday, September 27th. There are many opportunities to serve with our friends and neighbors in our skilled nursing facility on a variety of committees. So please give me a call if you'd like some more information. I'm Terry Colath.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is baked chicken with roasted potatoes and green beans. For dinner, it's the Pan Fresh Night for $11.95, and the soup of the day is chicken and white bean chili. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Tuesday, enjoy a barbecue beef sandwich with chips for $6.95. The dinner special is country fried steak with mashed potatoes, peas, and carrots for $7.95, and the Palm Grill is closed until September 26th. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, Randy Woods here at Village Church Connections, and I am with two ladies that are particularly excited about an upcoming program, Karen Chamberlain and Eleanor Perkins. Thank you for joining me today. And tell me, what is this program that you two are so excited about, Karen?
Well, it's a Bible study called Missing Pieces.
Well, there are lots of Bible studies. Why is this one so exciting for you?
Well, it offers real hope when life doesn't make sense. And you know, it got its name because sometimes things happen in life. Like we say to God, are you really aware? Why do people suffer? Do you really care? And this, even though we know the right answers, this kind of takes chunks out of our faith or missing pieces. And this Bible study that the Village Church women are going to have beginning October 8th is going to answer these questions. And
it sounds like those are some common questions that we all deal with in one way or another. So this will be a Bible study for who's invited? Eleanor, who can come to the Bible study?
Anybody that wants to. This is a women's ministry Bible study. We've never had a man ask to come, but I'm sure he wouldn't be turned away if they wanted to. So all women, and occasionally we have several women from outside the church who know about the Bible studies and they come. So all women are welcome to come and join us.
So all the ladies in the community are invited, and when will the Bible study take place? Karen, you said October?
October 8th, Tuesday, from 9:45 until 11:30, which will give everybody time at 11:30. We're going to promptly end so they can catch the 11:45 bus if they have to. So it's 3 Tuesdays in October, October 8th, 15th, and 22nd. And then we'll take a break, and we won't resume until February. And then we'll do 4 weeks in February.
So 3 weeks in the fall, 4 weeks in the spring. And Eleanor, how can the ladies sign up? If they would like to participate, how can they register?
We're going to have sign-ups at the church information desk beginning on Sunday, September the 15th. And then each Sunday someone will be there if they want to sign up. If they want to do it during the week, like if they don't attend the village church, they may sign up at the church office. And then they can pick up their book. We have a wonderful book that goes along with it, like a study book. And so that's what they can do.
And as they register, they'll get the material. They'll have a copy for themselves so they can study and write in. Is there a cost associated with the Bible study?
The book is $15. and that'll cover both sessions, so that's all they need for the entire study, both in October and in February.
Great. Now, you two are very excited about this.
Yeah.
And I could tell in talking with you, and you want everyone to be involved. This has been something that the Village Church ladies have worked many years and have hosted a Bible study. Mm-hmm. Eleanor and Karen, you both have been part of this. What do you expect as the ladies come together and share in the Bible study?
I think you're going to each woman will discover, as Karen and I and the other members of our committee did, that although she covers topics that we've all studied before, we've read scriptures about before, she covers it in a different way than I've ever experienced. She is an excellent Bible teacher. She also sings and plays the piano. Oh. But she has a way of presenting it that really touches you. With every one that I watched previewing them, I was not only personally touched, but I was spiritually touched by some part of it. And it's not that the subject matter is new. She just has a wonderful, fresh insight, and God has blessed her with a beautiful ability to connect to women of all ages.
I appreciate you saying that. When Karen and I were talking earlier, you mentioned her insight for the scriptures and the expression that she has from her own personal experience. But it's unusual that I understand she's blind. Tell us about the author, the one who is teaching, Jennifer.
Jennifer Rothschild. She became blind at 15. She got a rare retina disease, and in fact, she and her father and mother were at the doctor's office and were told that this was going to get worse. She would never recover, so that she would become almost completely blind. And she went home that day and she sat down at the piano and played "It Is Well With My Soul." And God has just gifted her for this ministry because she's uniquely qualified. She walks in the darkness, and so she shares the light in just a beautiful way, and you just can't help but. I mean, we are so excited because we love her already. I mean, it's just the way she teaches. She is such a real person.
So I understand that as you gather, there's not only the workbook and the discussion group, but there's a video that's part of the experience of the Bible study?
Yes, there's about a 25-minute video each day, and it's not a real long video because she doesn't have notes because she's blind, and all her scripture is memorized, and she is very scriptural. And after we have the video, we will break up into small groups and small discussion groups with facilitators and discuss the workbook and just how God has given us answers. Sometimes he doesn't always give us answers to questions, as she says, but he fills the missing pieces with himself. And so we'll get a more intimate relationship with God through this Bible study.
Well, it sounds like the perfect program starting in October. So for you and our community, be sure to come to the Village Church, sign up, give us a call, plan to be part of the Ladies Bible Study here in October, and join in this study of the missing pieces as we continue to grow together in the grace and knowledge of our Lord. Thank you, Eleanor and Karen, for being with me today and for sharing the joy and the excitement that you have, not only with me, but with our community. And we invite everyone to come and be a part of this joy and excitement that you're sharing today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as Yvonne Schneff invites you to meet the poets of Shell Point. We'll also discuss the South Fort Myers Food Pantry, the good work that goes on there, and the donations and volunteers that make it possible. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 10th. I'm Dan Philgreen, and from all of us at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.